Kendrick's tent. Gwen surrounded by bandits. Kendrick. How could you let her escape? You bring me the servant, she's worthless to us. Kendrick grabs Gwen's face to look her over. He takes Morgana's dress and cloak and shoves them at her. Kendrick. Put 'em on. Guinevere. What are you going to do with me? Kendrick. Hengist has never met the Lady Morgana. For all he knows, you could be Uther Pendragon's ward. Guinevere. I will not impersonate my mistress. Kendrick. Then you will die where you stand. He puts a sword to her throat. King's Palace, Council Chamber of Doom. Day. Morgana enters with Arthur. Uther. It's such a relief to see you safe. I couldn't bear the thought of anyone harming you.
Morgana. The bandits still have Gwen. Arthur. I believe they were Mercian. We've received reports that Hengist has crossed the border. Uther. Hengist. Morgana. You must send a rescue party. Uther. If Hengist is holding her, it would take a small army to rescue your maid.
Morgana. We can't abandon her. Uther. How many men would you have me sacrifice to save a servant? Morgana. As many as it takes. Gwen gave herself up so that I might escape. I owe her my life. Uther. She did so willingly, and she will be honored for it. Morgana. I don't want her honored, I want her rescued. She is more than just my maid, she's my friend. Uther. A servant is of no value to these bandits. I fear she's dead already. Morgana. No. We cannot give up hope. Arthur? I'm begging you. You have to do something. Arthur. My father's right. I'm afraid there's nothing we can do. Morgana. How can you say that? How can you live with yourselves? All of you. Gaius steps forward to escort her to her room. Forest, Gwen being escorted into Hengist's fortress. Hengist. Kendrick, I was beginning to think you'd failed me. Kendrick. May I present the Lady Morgana, Hengist. You're as beautiful as they say, Lady Morgana, Guinevere. I demand that you release me immediately, Hengist. Just as soon as Uther Pendragon pays your ransom. In the meantime, you'll be my guest. Guinevere. Do not flatter yourself. I am not your guest. I am your prisoner. Hengist. As you wish. Take her to the dungeon. King's Palace, Arthur's chamber, night. Morgana bursts into Arthur's chambers. Morgana. How can you be so heartless? Gwen is the most kind, loyal person that you would ever meet, and she has been more than a friend to all of us, and you would leave her at the mercy of those animals. Arthur. Morgana. Morgana. Have you no shame? Do you think of no one but yourself? Arthur. Morgana. Morgana. I knew you were many things, Arthur Pendragon, but I didn't know you were a gutless coward. Arthur. Raising his voice, Morgana. Now speaking in normal tone. Perhaps if you would stop shouting at me for 1 second, you would notice that I am packing. Morgana. You're going after Gwen. Arthur. Of course I'm going after her. What do you take me for? I couldn't disagree with father in public. Arthur leaves with his bag. Morgana calls him. Morgana. Arthur. Bring her home. King's Palace, Physician's Chamber. Merlin comes out of his chamber. Gaius. I suppose you and Arthur are going after Gwen. Merlin. Gaius, don't even think about telling me not to go. There's nothing you can say that will stop me. Gaius. I wasn't going to try and stop you, Merlin. All I ask is you make sure you come back safely, too. King's Palace, Main Secure. At night Merlin and Arthur hide behind a cart in the square and peek around it at Camelot's guards. Arthur. I'll fetch the horses, you distract the guards. Merlin. Wah. How do I do that? Arthur. I don't know. Do I have to think of everything? Arthur leaves. Merlin. Spell asterisk. The spell rolls some barrels near guards. They approach it warily. Merlin. Spell asterisk. Guards. Whoa. The spell stands the barrel upright. Merlin. Spell asterisk, Merlin accidentally sends too many rolling too fast. Arthur returns. Arthur. What did you do? I said distract them, not knock them out. Merlin. There's just no pleasing you sometimes. Hengist's palace, night. Boisterous feasting in Hengist's fortress. Hengist. Silence. Our royal guest, Lady Morgana, has grown bored. She needs entertaining. Bandit laughter. Hengist nods to someone. A gate opens to a cage and a gladiator struts out. Hengist. Bring on the challenger. Lancelot jogs into the cage. Gwen and Lancelot exchange surprised looks. Hengist. Only one of you will emerge from the cage alive. Do you accept the challenge? Lancelot bows to Hengist. A cage match ensues. Lancelot wins and spares the man's life, exits cage and goes to Hengist, who tosses him a sack of coins. Hengist. What is your name? Lancelot. My name is Lancelot. Hengist. You have proved yourself to be a skillful warrior. I believe you may even have impressed our royal guest, Lady Morgana. Surprised. Lancelot bows to her. Lancelot. My lady. Hengist laughs. Next time you fight, do not expect any mercy. Release the Wilderin. Cage door opens and a Wilderin emerges to eat the screaming gladiator. Forest, day. Merlin nodding off as he and Arthur ride through the woods. Merlin falls off his horse. Arthur. What are you doing, Merlin? Merlin. I must have fallen asleep. I'm exhausted. Sigh.
I can barely keep my eyes open. Arthur opens his canteen and throws water on Merlin's face.
Merlin. Thank you. I feel so much better, Arthur. Guinevere's life is at stake. We cannot afford to waste a second. Merlin. Hengist's palace, dungeon. Gwen curled up in her prison cell. Lancelot comes to her window. Lancelot. Gwen. Guinevere, Lancelot. Lancelot. I could not believe my eyes when I saw it was you. Guinevere. I thought my mind was deceiving me. Lancelot. Why does Hengist think you are Lady Morgana? Guinevere. He believes he's holding Morgana to ransom. When no ransom is paid, he will realize the truth and then he will throw me to those beasts. Lancelot. I will not allow that to happen. Guinevere. What are you doing here? Are you one of Hengist's men? Lancelot. No, Guinevere. What became of you after you left Camelot? Lancelot. There are few opportunities for men like me. So I've been earning a living the only way that I know. With a sword in my hand. It seems it is my destiny to entertain men like Hengist. Guinevere. I don't believe that of you. You were so full of hope.
Lancelot. I was wrong. The world is not like that. Guinevere. I still see the hope in you. I do not accept it is gone. Lancelot. I have thought of you often. Have you thought of me at all?
Guinevere. I thought I would never see you again. Door being unlocked. Guinevere. Someone's coming. Lancelot. No matter what it takes, I will find a way to get you out of here. I will. Forest. Merlin's sleeping under a tree. Arthur pours water over his face. Arthur. Merlin. Merlin. What's happening? How long was I asleep for? Arthur. Long enough. Merlin. Did you get some rest? Arthur. Couldn't sleep. Merlin. I've never seen you like this, about anyone. Arthur. What are you talking about? Merlin. Gwen. You really care about her, don't you? Arthur. What I care about is not wasting any more time talking. Let's get moving. Hengist's palace, dungeon. Gwen's sitting very stiffly on her prison bed. Cell door is unlocked and Hengist enters. She stands up sharply. Hengist. I've not yet received word from Uther that he intends to pay your ransom. I was informed that the king was extremely fond of his ward. Are you not surprised he is content to leave you here to die? Guinevere. How can I know the king's mind when I am locked in your stinking cell? Hengist. If I do not hear from Uther by dawn tomorrow, this stinking cell will be the last place you ever see. Cackle. Hengist exits and slams the cell door shut. Gwen slumps onto the prison bed. Forest, Arthur and Merlin looking at a map. Arthur. The ransom was supposed to be delivered to the Vale of Denaria. If they're holding Gwen anywhere, it has to be there. Which means, it'd save a day's riding if we cut through the tunnels of Andor. Merlin. Oh, no, I know that face. I'm not going to like this, am I? What's in the tunnels? Arthur. They're infested with Wilderin. Merlin. What are Wilderin? Arthur. Well, they're like giant baby rats. Merlin. Baby rats? They don't sound so bad. Arthur. They feast on human flesh. Merlin. Maybe we should go over the mountains. Arthur walks over to inspect some bushes. Merlin. What are you doing? Arthur. Wilderin are completely blind. They hunt by sense of smell. Gaia berries will put them off the scent. So, if we smear ourselves with them, perhaps we can pass through the tunnels undetected. Arthur smears his face with the berries. Merlin starts to smear some berries on his face too. Merlin. Oh, these stink. Oh, they're really bad. Arthur. Perhaps you'd prefer to be eaten alive.
Merlin. Pass me some more, will you? Merlin and Arthur walk through the tunnels. Merlin. Ah. I just stood on something. Arthur. That was my foot. Merlin. Oh, sorry. How much further is it? Arthur. Shish. Wildeorin coming this way. They put out their lights and they hide. Arthur. Whatever happens, keep completely still. A Wildeorin sniffs and come closer to Merlin and sniff his face. But they stay still.
Hengist's palace, dungeon. Lancelot sneaks up to Gwen's cell. Lancelot. Gwen. Guinevere. Lancelot. Lancelot. I was terrified I might find your cell empty. Guinevere. There's been no word from Uther. I fear Hengist is growing suspicious. Lancelot. You must keep up the pretense. I will not allow you to die here. Guinevere. What about you? Lancelot. I have little to live for. Guinevere. Do not say that. Lancelot. It's the truth. For all my words, for all that I believed, I have come to nothing. Guinevere. You are everything that is right with this world. Lancelot. I did not know you felt that way. Guinevere. I didn't even know I could feel this way about someone. Lancelot. Then you have given me a reason to live. Be ready. I will come for you before nightfall. Forest, day. Arthur and Merlin washing off the Gaia berries by a stream. Arthur. Gaia berries worked. Huh. Merlin. You didn't know if they worked? Arthur. Not for sure. Merlin. Now you tell me. Oh, what's that Wilderin eating? It's all right. It's just Merlin. You trying to get us both killed? Arthur. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have risked your life like that. Merlin. Well, they do say love makes you do strange things. Arthur. What are you talking about? Merlin. Why can't you just admit your feelings for Gwen? Arthur. Scoff, Merlin. It's so obvious. A blind man could see it. Is it really that hard to admit you like her? Just say it. Arthur. I can't. How can I admit that I think about her all the time? Or that I care about her more than anyone? How can I admit that? I don't know what I'll do if any harm comes to her. Merlin. Why can't you? Arthur. Because nothing can ever happen between us. To admit my feelings knowing that hurts too much.
Merlin. Who's to say nothing can happen? Arthur.
My father won't let me rescue a servant. Do you honestly believe he'd let me marry one?
Merlin. You want to marry Gwen? Arthur. No. I don't know. It's all talk, and that's all it can ever be.
Merlin. When you're king, you can change that.
Arthur. I can't expect Guinevere to wait for me.
Merlin. If she feels as you do, she'll wait for you.
Arthur. We don't even know if she's still alive.
Merlin. No, she is. We will find her. Arthur. Come on. We've got a long trek ahead. Oh, and Merlin. If you dare tell anyone about this, I promise I will make your life a living hell.
Merlin. You mean, more than you already do. Arthur. Yeah, Merlin. We could talk about your feelings while you walk. Arthur. Shut up, Merlin. Hengist's palace, night. Bandits shove Gwen into the cage where Hengist is waiting. Hengist. Morgana. Morgana. I keep asking myself, why does Uther not pay the ransom? He's a rich man, why would he leave his beloved ward to suffer a slow and terrible death? Guinevere. I don't know. Please. Please. She backs up into the corner of the cage and he grabs one of her hands. Hengist. It must be very upsetting to know that Uther has abandoned you. It seems like no one in the world cares for you. Hengist squeeze Gwen's hand, press her to jail wall. And Hengist facial experience change. Guinevere. I don't know why he doesn't pay. Please. I don't know. Hengist. Take her to her cell. Bring Kendrick to me. Perhaps he can tell me why the Lady Morgana has the hands of a serving girl. Gwen thrown into her cell. She curls up under Morgana's cloak and cries. Lancelot drugs the guards. Kendrick is thrown into the cage. Kendrick. No, no. Wait. Wait. Hengist. Hengist. Wait. We did capture the Lady Morgana, but. She escaped. Hengist. So who, exactly, do I have in my dungeon?
Kendrick. Lady Morgana's maid. Hengist. Thank you for being so honest. Release the Wilderon.
Kendrick. No, no, please. I'm begging you. Hengist. Hengist. Please. Please. Hengist. Hengist. Lancelot, successfully sedated Hengist's men, takes the keys to opens the door to Gwen's cell and takes her hand. Lancelot. We haven't a moment to lose. They run down a dark tunnel. Hengist goes to Gwen's cell, which is open. Hengist. Ah, find them. Bring her to me alive.
Gwen and Lancelot stop in the tunnels. Lancelot. Follow this tunnel. It will take you out beyond the castle walls. I will buy you as much time as I can. Guinevere. I am not leaving you. Lancelot, you must.
Guinevere. No, I will not leave you here to die. Lancelot. I would die for you 100 times over. Live for me, or everything that I am has been for nothing. Guinevere. As long as I live, my feelings for you will never fade.
They share a kiss. Lancelot, run. Don't stop running until you are well away from here. She hesitates. Run. Run.
Lancelot fights off bandits. Gwen runs, pauses when she hears a yell, then keeps running. Hengist's palace. Arthur and Merlin viewing the fortress from their hiding spot in the woods. Arthur. We'll have to scale the walls. Merlin. Maybe there's another way in. Arthur. Why don't you go and knock on the front gate? I'm sure if you ask nicely, they'll hand Guinevere over to you. Hengist's palace. Fighting cage. Lancelot tied up in the cage, bandits laughing and jeering at him. Hengist. Before you die, I can promise you the most unimaginable pain. Lancelot. You can do what you will with me. I do not care. You can do no harm to Guinevere. Hengist. Oh, was that her name, huh? The serving girl. And you really believe she's worth dying for? Lancelot. She is worth more to me than you will ever understand. Hengist nods. The gate is opened. Gwen is dragged into the cage. Hengist. You thought she got away. No. You failed her. And that must hurt you, more than I will ever understand. Merlin and Arthur scaling the wall. Arthur. You really are completely useless, aren't you, Merlin? Merlin. It's harder than it looks. Oh. Now you're just showing off. Arthur and Merlin peek around a corner inside the fortress to see some bandits. Arthur. You distract them. I'll knock them out. Merlin. How do I distract them? Arthur puts his arm around Merlin and then shoves him into the room. Bandit. What are you doing there? Merlin. Nothing. Actually, it's a funny story. I was out walking and I took a wrong turn and here I am. Do you know the way to the Vale of Denaria? Bandit. Who are you? Merlin. Me. I'm no one, it's him you need to worry about. Arthur knocks them out. They dress in the bandits' clothes and drag the bandits into a corner. Merlin. That actually worked pretty well. Bandits laughing at Gwen and Lancelot who are tied to each other in the cage. Hengist. What do you say? Shall I spare them? Bandits. Kill, 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 kill. Guinevere. I am sorry. This is my fault. Lancelot. You have nothing to be sorry for. You reminded me of who I am. I will die with faith in my heart. That is worth more than anything. Hengist. Release the Wildeoren. Arthur and Merlin enter the room. Arthur jumps into the cage and pulls off his mask. Guinevere. Arthur. Arthur frees them, tosses Lancelot a sword, pulls Gwen behind them while they fend off the Wildeoren. Arthur. What are you doing here, Lancelot? Lancelot. I came to save Gwen. What about you? Arthur. Likewise. Get behind us. Hengist aims a crossbow at the three in the cage. Merlin. Ik bebied feel. Chandelier crashes. Hengist dodges it. Arthur. The tunnel, that's our only chance. Merlin. Don't sit there cowering, let's go. Hengist. After them. Merlin jumps over the cage wall and Hengist enter through the door. Lancelot. Take Guinevere. I'll hold them off. Guinevere. No. Arthur. Guinevere, we have to go. Arthur grabs Gwen and takes her down the tunnel. Merlin. Spell, rope breaks and gate falls, trapping Hengist in with the Wildeoren. Hengist. Open the gate. Ah, Lancelot. I see you're still up to your old tricks, Merlin. Merlin. It's probably best you don't tell anyone about that. The four stop running when they reach locked bars at the end of the tunnel. Arthur tries to break chain. Lancelot. Good to see you both. Where are your knights? Arthur. It's just us. Got to keep moving. Lancelot. Thank you, Arthur. We owe you our lives. Gwen is helped up by Lancelot to stand and they share a meaningful glance as they holding their arms. It is upsetting Arthur and surprising Merlin. They escape the tunnel. The four sit at a campfire in the woods, Arthur pouting at Gwen. Lancelot. I'm surprised you would undertake such a rescue mission, with just the two of you. Arthur. My father would not risk the lives of his knights for a servant. Lancelot. And yet you disobeyed him and came here anyway. Arthur. Truth is, I only came because Morgana begged me. Gwen looks offended. Guinevere. I think I will get some rest. As Gwen stand Arthur, looks even more upset. Arthur. We should all get some rest. Lancelot. I'll stand guard for a while. Merlin. I'll just sit here, then. When Gwen and Arthur fall asleep, Merlin sits down next to Lancelot. Lancelot. Is it true that Arthur came to rescue Gwen because Morgana begged him? He has feelings for her, doesn't he? Merlin. What about you? Do you have feelings for Gwen? Lancelot. My feelings do not matter. I will not come between them. Tell Gwen that she has changed me forever, but some things cannot be. Forest. Morning. Arthur is off somewhere in the woods. Merlin puts fire out and Gwen wakes. Guinevere. Where's Lancelot? Where is he? Merlin. He's gone. Guinevere. No, Merlin. He said that some things can't be. He wanted you to know that you've changed him forever. Arthur watches them. Arthur. We have a long walk ahead of us. Merlin walks home while Gwen and Arthur ride the horses. King's Palace. Morgana stands on the Griffin landing staring worriedly out the window. Arthur walks up the stairs. Arthur. Morgana. There's someone here to see you. Arthur steps aside and Gwen runs into Morgana's arms. Morgana. Gwen. I thought I'd never see you again. Arthur and Gwen change a heartbroken glance before leave. King's Palace, Main Square. Arthur walked down the castle steps into the square. Merlin comes run and join him. Arthur nods to a older couple walking arm in arm. Merlin. Look on the bright side, you've still got me. Arthur. Is that supposed to cheer me up? Merlin. Thought it might. Arthur. You really are a complete idiot, aren't you, Merlin?